This is a particularly interesting feature, I think one of our favorites on the disc, because it shows Steve Wiebe and Billy Mitchell side by side playing the game, their styles, their strategies, and it's really interesting to watch like how differently each of them plays.
If you've played this game before, you realize that you can get some auxiliary points by just doing weird things. Like you'll notice that Billy on the left, he gets a lot of points by just basically bouncing next to things or bouncing like over things, jumping in dangerous areas, which always yields about 100 points per game. The way the points break down is if you jump over a barrel, it's 100. If you have a narrow jump over a barrel, I think it's 300. And then if you jump over, or is it 2 barrels you jump over, it's 300, and then 3 barrels you jump over, it's 800.
3 barrels is quite an amazing feat.
You have to definitely be going laterally when you do that, so it's pretty skillful, and you can't just do it on a whim. You have to actually charge up, kind of like get some running.
And notice how Wiebe is controlling the barrels going down the ladder, like he talks about in the movie, like he's directing them. This is really scary, by the way, when you play Donkey Kong. One of my tactics is to get to the level as fast as humanly possible, because more and more barrels will start colliding with you and like coming directly at you, and it gets intimidating. You start losing confidence that you can actually get there to the top, and you usually die.
Yeah.
The fact that they linger this long is pretty amazing.
These guys both go up and down ladders. Steve definitely goes right to the end of the level a lot faster than Billy does. Billy tends to like...
Billy milks it. He milks it.
He uses the hammer to his advantage.
Which is dangerous because it slows you down.
And
like you can't get rid of the hammer. You keep it for its duration.
Yeah, he sits on every level. He goes down levels. He seems to be a lot more like kind of daring player.
Look, and he just hangs out. He's like, I'm at the ladder, but I'm just going to jump over these.
He's a lot less concerned with sort of completing a level than he is with gaining points. And what's really interesting about this whole exercise, and something I was thinking about recently, is like, there has to be a maximum number of points available in this game. Like when you clear all the boards at all the levels, there has to be a maximum number that you can achieve. Like I know there's random elements to this game, but if you know what I'm saying, there has to be.
Well, yeah, it's not
not
like Pac-Man where it's definitive, where if you get all 4 ghosts on each power pellet, you can gain the maximum number of points. Like there's a ratio, there's like a kind of a pocket goal of getting maybe 12,000 points in one single match, one single level.
But my guess is that these guys are already at the maximum reaches of what you can do points-wise.
You watch Billy, like the countdown of the points, the bonus score, that's your timer. Like everyone thinks it's not time, but Donkey Kong, if you linger too long and you have 0 bonus points, your game's over.
Yeah.
And like Billy milked it till it went to the red. Like he had a couple hundred points left, that's it. And that's why he hung up on the ladder as long as possible, because he knew he could just shoot up it and get the points right away.
He's also playing like literally with fire in this level.
And watch Steve, he just like sits by Donkey Kong's foot and jumps and jumps and jumps.
Yeah, it's interesting because in some ways, we were talking about point scabbing, and they talk about it in the special features elsewhere. Since that's a feature of the game, he's getting 100 points every time he jumps. But some people would kind of think that was maybe a cheap tactic.
Well, I thought it was a cheat tactic until you so poetically pointed out that there's points accrued, like and specifically programmed into the game for that.
Yeah.
Like it's not a glitch. It's like you get that close and you jump. You got the balls to do it, so you might as well get the points.
Well, it's like a risk-reward thing. And then the other thing is that these are timed levels. These aren't levels that are like you can hang out in them for 5 hours and just keep getting points. They're timed, so you have to decide as a gamer what you think is more valuable. If you think like getting points like hammering pies and like jumping over barrels, jumping over fireballs is worthwhile, or whether you want to get up that ladder and like live to fight another day. The other interesting thing is that this game is over with 22 screens, so you have to maximize what you do on every single screen.
There is a kill screen, there is an ending. It's not definitive in that it just kind of just ends, you die. And so you gotta get the points when you can get the points. If you rush through the game, you're not gonna get a high score.
Well, I think that Brian Koo, one of the guys who set he set one of the fun spot records before Steve Wiebe came in and completely shattered it. His score was around, I believe, like 560,000. He's the banker that retired early to play video games. He said he got to the kill screen, and I kind of think that could be true.
Yeah, you can probably be a couple 100,000 points under what Mitchell and Wiebe did.
He's like
if you rush through
400,000 points.
Yeah, like it's possible because these guys, they're pros, man. They linger.
This is a really interesting level for.
The jumping on the bottom there. Like I always jump from the top. Going from the bottom and hitting that's not easy.
No.
And they make some other daring choices. Like watch Steve as he jumps straight over.
Yeah,
to that's pretty skillful.
Well, both of those guys use that tactic, but what Steve does is even more interesting. He's got this whole thing plotted out, and you see it in the movie where he's got the the different paths of the bouncing things, the springs. In other levels, they go over to the far right side of the screen and jump and jump and jump and jump next to that top level there, and get all kinds of points just on I think it's jumping on a fireball or near a fireball. That's another interesting thing. Hanging out near the near the barrel
Kill
at the bottom.
screen, dead.
Insanity.
They flipped the game. Notice too, like the score can't actually accommodate their million points, and so it flips to 0 again, and that's called flipping.
Yeah, and what's funny about that is that I believe Billy's got a top score, but actually Steve's score is better than his, and he looks like he's in second place.